Hi, hello everybody. I'm going to turn this fan off. I am just a little early, just making sure that everything is set up and that all is looking good. I hope you guys are all doing well today. Thank you for joining me for Vision Day. Thank you so much for joining me. I am just checking my phone. And making sure I tell my husband that I'm live. So just bear with me. Whenever you join, tell me where you're joining from. Even if you're watching the replay, tell me where you're joining from. I would love to know. I would love to know. I am actually currently in the Caribbean. I'm in Trinidad precisely. So I don't have to deal with any snow right now, which is very nice. And we're going to get started. It is 12:01. So we're going to get started. I am going to be true to time. I did promise to share something with a few subscribers. They were asking me about how I add my vision board to my planner. So I would have shared previously, and I'm just finding it, that I have my vision board inside of my planner. My word of the year is flourish. So when I open my planner, this is how it looks. I'm not going to show you all my business, but it folds out like this. And that's how I keep my vision board inside of my planner along with my actual plans. So it's really easy. I'm going to just show you with this piece of card. So this is 8.5 by 11, and you can see these lines that I have here. So I take a piece of A5 paper. I'm an A5 planner. Take a piece of A5 paper. I line it up like this, right? So you can see the contrast. I line it up like this. I cut off this excess. So that's what this top line is. Cut off this excess only. And I punch using a single hole punch all the way down. And then this dotted line is where I would fold it over. So now when I put it inside of my planner, it's kind of like this, and it will be a fold out. So you can have the fold out to the front or to the back. It's up to you. And you can go ahead and add photos. You can add stickers, inspirational quotes, actually write your vision. So what are your goals for 2024? How do you want that to play out? And that is how I create that. So it's really simple. If you want me to actually go through it and do like a more detailed version, let me know in the comments and I can go ahead and create that for you. So like I said, I am going to be true to time because I have to pay attention to my own time also and make sure I'm on track with the things that I want to do today. So thank you again for joining me on this live. My name is Teresa Scotland. I am a visionary confidant and life coach. I am the author of, I should have had these books out, but I am co-author of No More Unclaimed Promises. It is available on Amazon. And I am also the author of this book that I have on the back of my planner. It is called Vision, and it's actually a journal that gets you started on your life vision. So I want to walk you through a process that I would go through with my VIPs. And I think it's going to be really beneficial to those of you who haven't actually planned anything for 2024, or you've planned things in the past and you find that you run out of steam and you're not really sure which way to go. So if you see me looking to the side, it's because I am looking at my notes. I have developed something that I call the A-list assignment. And at the beginning of the A-list assignment, what we do is we would actually look at your life as it is right now. We look at where you are in life in 12 different categories. And based on where you are in those 12 categories, we would then move forward with how you want to tackle your vision going forward. So, what I've experienced is that a lot of women will ex- they'll start to explore the things that they think that they should be doing as opposed to the things that they actually need to be doing. And a lot of us are looking to glow up. A lot of us are looking to level up, right? But there is no elevation without evaluation. So you absolutely must evaluate first. Evaluate where you are, evaluate what you want, and also evaluate why you want it, right? Don't be afraid to question yourself, and don't be ashamed of questioning yourself. One of the things that holds women back is that we are afraid to admit that we don't know what we want. We're afraid to admit that we don't know what we're doing. And this happens. This absolutely happens. It happens to everyone, and it's nothing to be ashamed of, and it's nothing to be afraid of. What I want to do today is to provide you with the tools that will help you to figure out where you are and to figure out what you're doing. Right? So let's take a look at life. This is a download that is actually available. So after this video has been saved to YouTube, I'm actually going to make it available so you can download the PDF. It is absolutely free. It is part of the A-list assignment, which is inside of her Victorious Vision. So if you're a woman who is looking for a way to figure out a strategy, a concrete strategy that you can follow through for the rest of the year, I really encourage you to go ahead and sign up for the A-list assignment. And that part of her Victorious Vision is absolutely free. So let's take a look at your life. So there are 12 categories. I swear every time I start talking, my neighbor's dog starts talking too, but we're going to ignore him. There are 12 categories that we're going to look at from the A-list assignment. And I invite you, if you have pen and paper, if you have a journal, to start writing. Consider this a masterclass. I want you to pay attention, whether you're watching live, whether you jump on while I'm actually here, or you jump on afterwards, that's fine. But pay attention and write these things down, because I promise you're going to have some aha moments. I cannot see the chat. So just type in the chat. Just type hi from wherever you're from and let me know so I can make sure that I'm seeing the chat. So the first category we're looking at is spirituality. Now, I believe that every single thing that we create comes from a spiritual place first. So if you're not paying attention to where you are spiritually, it's very hard for you to be able to navigate figuring out your vision, to be able to navigate relationships, to be able to navigate anything in life if you are not grounded spiritually. So that's category number one. The second category is your mental health. Mental health is extremely important, especially coming out of the last few years that we have had. It has taken a global toll on the mental health of women, especially. And this is something that we really need to pay attention to as we move forward, as we're like crawling out of this hole, so to speak. We really need to pay attention to our mental health. Achieving goals in and of themselves is not enough. Like, how are you nurturing yourself? How are you taking care of yourself along that journey? That matters. What also matters is your physical health, right? So we're also looking at physical health and exercise. Now, you're not here alone. So we're also going to look at your romantic partnerships and marriage. We're also going to look at family. We're going to look at friendships. We're going to look at home organization and decor. You're like, what does that have to do with my vision? This all has to do with it. We're going to look at personal development and hobbies. We're going to look at career and professional development. environment and community, finances, and then lastly, recreation and travel. So those are 12 areas of life that you can look at as it pertains to your vision. When you ask people, what is your big goal for 2024? They probably tell you one thing. They may have a list of 3 things. They may have a list of 5 things, right? But one thing that we do not look at is how do those things interact with each other? How do those things affect each other? And that's very often what causes us to quit, right? Not considering how one thing affects the other. So, in these areas, and as I'm walking through them, I'm going to list them again, and I'm going to ask you to just do one simple thing, and you're just going to write a number next to, if you've already taken the notes of what these 12 areas are, you're just going to write a number next to that area. So, in the area of spirituality, rate your satisfaction in this area on a scale of 1 to 10. So 10 being very satisfied and 1 being, this is horrible. I'm not doing well in this area at all. So, and do not give it a whole lot of thought. It should take you 10 seconds, if that, because you know where you are. So, spirituality, we're going to rate from 1 to 10. Let's look at your mental health. How do you feel? Rate that from 1 to 10. How do you feel? Are you feeling balanced? Are you feeling out of balance? Are you feeling extremely frustrated? Are you anxious? Are you generally happy? Are things going really well for you? How are you feeling? Then we're going to look at physical health and exercise. So that's your fitness. How are you feeling in terms of your fitness? Are you at the weight that you want to be? Do you feel comfortable in your clothes? Are you feeling unfit? Are you huffing and puffing when you walk up the stairs? How are you feeling in that area on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst? Romantic partnerships and marriage. This shouldn't take you long. This shouldn't take you long. Don't judge yourself. Don't judge the number. It is just a starting point for you to move forward. Your romantic partnership and your marriage. How do you feel about it on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst? Where are you on that scale? Your family. How is your family life? How does that look for you on a scale of 1 to 10? Your friendships. Are you having difficulty in your friendships? Do you have really close friendships? Do you have a wonderful core group of friends who really love and support you? Rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. So you'll notice that the first 6 of these are very close to the heart, very close to the heart, very personal. And it starts that way for a reason, because very often we move on to these next 6 areas first. We don't look at the internal stuff first. We look at the external stuff first. And these are the external things. So home organization and decor. How organized is your home? Do you have a lot of clutter? Is everything pretty clean? Is everything minimal? Um, do you enjoy your space? How do you feel when you come home, when you walk into your house? How do you feel in the physical space? I'm not talking about the emotional climate of your home, but in the physical space of your home, how do you feel on a scale of 1 to 10? Your personal development and hobbies. Do you have any hobbies? Are you reading? Are you drawing? Are you a weekend warrior? Do you like taking on home projects, DIYs, things like that? These things are also really important in terms of your vision. Are you participating in anything like that? Your career and professional development. Are you feeling great at your job? Are you doing well? Are you moving up? Do you feel stuck? On a scale of 1 to 10, rate yourself. Your environment and community. Now, this has to do with the neighborhood that you live in, what type of neighborhood that you live in, your relationship with your neighbors. Are you involved in the community? Where do you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? Not yourself, sorry, your satisfaction. You're not rating yourself, you're rating your satisfaction in this area on a scale of 1 to 10. And the last two are finances. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, where are you in terms of your finances? And then the last one is recreation and travel. What are you doing for fun? Are you getting out and seeing new places and doing new things, right? So those are the 12 categories. The first 6, spirituality, mental health, physical health and exercise, romantic partnership and marriage, family and friendships. Those are all very close to the heart, right? And then the last 6, home organization, personal development, career, professional development, environment and community, finances, recreation, and travel, those have more to do with external factors, right? Home organization and decor, not so much, but when people come to your house, they're going to see that expression of you. So that is part of your outward expression, right? Um, I've seen many women focus on, as I was saying before, I've seen them focus on these last 6 and don't focus on the first 6. And I want to tell you that if you start out your year with an outward focus, it's going to be very hard for you to sustain that, because no matter what your goal is, no matter how big it is, no matter how small, if you are not sustaining the woman you are and you're not sustaining your relationships, it's going to become very difficult for you to sustain the goal itself once you achieve it. And I was actually in conversation with someone earlier today, an amazing woman. She is a coach as well. And we were just sharing ideas and our aha moments. And it was a really beautiful exchange. But excuse me, excuse me. One of the things that came up for me was the difference between being a dreamer and being a visionary. And when you are a dreamer, I was giving her the example of, a little girl dreaming about her marriage, dreaming about her wedding, what her wedding day is going to be like. And very often we dream about the goal and we don't think about the process. We don't think about what it's going to actually take for us to get to that goal. And then once we have the goal, once we have achieved the goal, what it's going to actually take for us to keep it. So then amazing things can happen. Let's say we do get married. Let's say we do lose the weight. Let's say we do save $10,000. Now what? What's the plan? And not only what's the plan, but what's the process? There has to be a process that gets you from the woman that you are now to the woman that you need to become in order to, 1, achieve the goal, and 2, to sustain the goal. Because we don't want to get to the point where we are achieving things and then we're panicking and we're worried about losing the very thing that we worked so hard to get. And not in the issue of marriage. I don't want to talk about marriage as if it's a goal per se, because that is a whole different discussion. For many women, the relationship and the appearance of the relationship can be the goal, right? The appearance of the relationship, hear me, the appearance of the relationship can be the goal. The appearance of the job, the appearance of the well-kept home, the appearance of you can actually be the goal, when in fact the woman within is not being nurtured. And you find yourself now in a position where you feel like a fraud because you built something around yourself. And the very thing that used to be a goal has now become a prison, right? So that's not what we want. So we looked at these categories, these 12 categories, and I don't know what your category is. So when it comes to your category in for the rest of the month of January, today is the 11th of January. So let's say we have 2 weeks. So for the next 2 weeks, I want you to really double down on concentrating on your one area that for you has given you the most frustration, right? And look at why you're frustrated in that area. Not just say, I'm frustrated in this area and I want to change it, but why am I frustrated in this area? What exactly am I feeling? What emotions exactly are coming up? And this is an important thing because sometimes what we do is we want to just move on. We want to just be done with it and we want to just be over it and move on to the next thing. But what happens when you move is that the frustration moves with you and the old habits move with you. And all the little things that were wrong that you haven't taken care of will move with you. So I really want us to be able to dive deep and answer the questions. When you answer the question, I am frustrated because, and I'll give you another example from the conversation I was having earlier. Some years ago, I remember my son was rolling on the floor and I got so upset with him and I started yelling at him to get up. And he was probably 3 or 4 at the time. And I realized that I wasn't upset with him because he was rolling on the floor. I was upset with him because the floor wasn't clean. And that's not his fault. And we can very often find ourselves in situations where we are upset with people because of a circumstance that we've actually created, right? So, this is not saying that everything is your fault, but when we start to own our part in how our life is playing out, what happens is we start to own our part in how our life can play out better, right? So I want you to leave this session feeling empowered, leave this session feeling better informed, leave this session knowing yourself a little bit better. How many of you have actually sat down and gone through these 12 categories and said, well, where do I feel? How do I feel about this area? How do I feel about this? How do I feel about this? The beautiful thing about the way that I approach vision is that I look at it as a year-long process. We look at Esther in the Bible. She went through an entire year of preparation before she became queen. It didn't just happen overnight, right? People may have seen her suddenly appear, but in the background, she was working on these things. What would happen for you if you took the next 12 months and you picked a category every single month from these 12 categories and you decided this is the month that I'm going to focus on this area. This is a month I'm going to focus on this area. So you might spend January focusing on your finances, getting your budget together. You might spend it focusing on your fitness. You might spend it focusing on your career and professional development. There may be changes that you need to make in your career and you need to make those changes quickly. So I can't come on here and tell you, oh, you need to work on your finances first. You need to work on this first. You need to work on that first. I don't know. I don't know your life, but this is to inform you so that you are able to make a better decision for yourself moving forward, right? So, one of the questions that I like to ask is if you were to read your story like it was a book or look at it like if it was a movie, what would the name of that movie be? Right? And if you were to rewrite it, what would you rewrite that title to be? Right? I shared with you that my word of the year is flourish. And this is the first time that I have actually had an acronym that's associated with flourish. So before, my last word of the year was shine for last year. And I've had various words of the year. So I've had overcome, I've had different words that would guide me throughout the year. And this year, flourish is definitely my word. And I feel led also to share the strategy behind this. And I'm sharing the strategy behind this in hopes that it is going to help you and also inspire you to have your own word of the year. So the F in flourish is for faith. Like I said, I believe that everything starts with spirituality, right? So focusing on my faith, making that a daily part of my life. The L is for leadership. I first have to lead myself so that I can lead others. I am a mother. I am a wife. I am a coach. I am a mentor to other people, male and female. So leadership and self leadership specifically is something that I really need to hone in on. The O is for overflow. And this is a part that I really want to share because I believe that a lot of women struggle with this. We want to operate from a place of overflow. We want to have that feeling of flow and of ease and of living beautifully, right? But that only happens when you pay attention to yourself, when you pay attention to what you're pouring into yourself, not just pouring into yourself, but paying attention to what is being poured into you. It's you could be full from eating pizza, or you could be full from eating food that is nutritious and actually good for you, good for your brain, good for your body, right? So it's not just about overflow, but it is about quality overflow, right? Because you could have an overflow of toxicity, you could have an overflow of frustration. So, whatever you are pouring into yourself, remember as a woman, as a wife, as a sister, as an employee, as a friend, it's going to be poured out on other people. Paying attention to that is extremely important because not only are you creating the right environment within yourself for you to flourish, but you're also creating an environment for others to flourish around you, right? And you want to be a woman that people feel comfortable with. You want to be a woman that people inspire, people are inspired by, I'm sorry, right? And you want to be a woman who can encourage and who can teach others. So the next thing is uniqueness, and that is embracing your true beauty, that is embracing your individuality, embracing that there is only one you, and that the way that you do things is different because you are you, and that's okay, and that you can follow rules and still be yourself and not feel confined to a role and not feel defined by that role, right? The R is for revelation, seeking knowledge within, seeking knowledge outside of myself. That could be from anywhere, that could be from conversations, it could be from movies, it could be from books, it could be from just paying attention to life and watching it play out and asking yourself the question at the end of the day, what did I learn today? What can I carry into tomorrow? What was useful for me? The I is for insight, and insight goes with revelation, right? But seeking that insight, not just allowing life to happen, but actually looking deeper, reading between the lines intentionally to see what's happening. S is for strategy, right? A vision without a plan, it's just a wish list. You absolutely need a strategy as to how you're going to carry out. Okay, fine. You need to do better with your finances. What is strategy? What is the strategy that you're actually going to implement? You're going to use a budget. Okay, fine. You budget, but then are you going to use cash? Are you going to create a separate account for your personal and your home spending? Are you, if you're married, are you and your spouse going to do this together? How It's the how that carries us through. It's the how that creates the habits that actually create the vision. Like the vision just doesn't happen because you put it on your vision board, because you put it on your wall, because you put it in your planner, like I showed you earlier. You actually have to now take this planner and use this planner. It's a tool that will help you to create the vision that you put on your vision board. And then also, while I'm talking about strategy, allow your vision to evolve. It's not set in stone. So just because you've set something and you're working towards that thing doesn't mean that exactly that thing is going to happen exactly that way, right? My coach said something that always stuck with me. She said, "Give God something to bless." And very often, that vision is just the tip of the iceberg. That vision, that thing that looks so big and so out of your reach, is actually the tip of the iceberg. And when you start walking towards it, so much more opens up in front of you, and you're able to see further. The further you go, the further you're able to see, right? And the further you're able to see, the wider your vision becomes. Let it expand. Let it expand. Let yourself expand and let your vision expand. Don't be conformed to who you've been expected to be, and don't be confined by that. And then the H is for healing. And that is healing your mind, that is healing your body, that is healing your relationships. And that could be your relationships with people. It could be your relationship with food. It can be your relationship with money. It could be your relationship with yourself, right? So, faith, leadership, overflow, uniqueness, revelation, insight, strategy, and healing. And I'm going to be talking about each of these throughout the coming weeks, but I wanted to share it here to begin with because I believe that it can be a jumping board for those of you who have not yet started to plan out your vision for 2024. If this seems like a lot, if it seems overwhelming, I completely get that. But what is more overwhelming is being in a position where you don't know what you're doing. Being in a position where you feel like you're starting over one more time, right where you were last year, right? What's overwhelming is being at the end of the year and not feeling any different than you felt at the beginning. And if you stick with this channel, if you stick with me, whether you are a VIP, whether you join my email list, whether you subscribe to my channel, whether you know me in person, it is my vision that everyone who comes into contact with me, everyone who encounters me, is going to get some insight, is going to get some revelation that is going to guide them for the rest of their lives. If I can say something that will spark something inside of you, that will cause you to start to think differently, to think higher, then I've done my job. I've completely done my job. Right? So, get a piece of paper and we're going to do this really quickly. It doesn't have to be involved. This isn't a coaching session. It doesn't have to be that involved, but I want to leave you with a nugget that you can take with you for the rest of the year. So we looked at those 12 areas. You're looking at the one area where you need the most work, right? The one area that is causing you the most stress and heartache right now. And I want you to, after this, because we can't really do it live. If I was on Zoom, I would do it differently. But write your perfect scenario for that area. So let's say it's your finances, right? Let's go back to finances. Or let's say it's your weight, right? Let's say it's your weight. And there's a certain way that you want to look, there's a certain way that you want to feel. Describe that feeling and describe that look in as much detail as possible, as if it has already happened. And I'm going to tell you what happens. You start to write, and it feels like you're lying. It literally feels like you're lying. You're like, oh, I look amazing, and I have a 6-pack. And then you look down at your stomach, and you're like, no, no, no. Right? And it feels like you're lying. But push through that feeling, and keep writing. If you are not a person who writes, you can close your eyes and visualize it. I get it. Everyone isn't a journaler. Everyone is not a writer. But I challenge you to challenge yourself, even if you are not a writer, to describe in as much detail. And why I'm asking you to write it down is that when you document it, you now have a reference to look back on. Because a lot of the time, what we do is we don't document the journey. And when we don't document the journey, what happens is we forget. We forget the area where we were inspired. We forget where that spark happened. We forget even what we wanted. How many of you have had dreams that you shoved so far down, you pushed them so far on the back burner that you can't even remember what those dreams are anymore? But when you document it, you can look at it. I believe that's why the Bible says, write the vision and make it plain. So he who reads it can run with it. Somebody has to read it. And that first somebody is you. Some of you have dreams and goals that require other people to get on board with you, but they can't get on board with you to partner with you in a vision that you haven't clarified for yourself, right? So be as detailed as possible, and no dream is too small or too stupid. I have a dream to fill my house with art. I can't remember the last time I drew something, but I want to fill my entire house with art, my own art. Now, that's not earth shattering. That's not, in the grand scheme of things, there are a lot more important things, but it's something that I would enjoy, and it's something that I want to do. And I'm making it a priority this year because I have lost track. I've lost my grip on my creativity. And that's something that I really miss. Having those moments. I used to just sit for 20 minutes and draw. And mentally, it was something that was so calming for me, right? What is it for you? Is it home decor? Is it, I don't know, is it golf? What is it for you? Is it playing Monopoly with your family? What is it? What are the things that you want to incorporate? And think about that one area of frustration. If it was flipped on its head and it looked completely different and things looked perfect, what would it look like? And describe that, right? And for the next, let's do it until the end of the month. That one area, describe that one area, and every single day for the rest of this month, describe that area, read it out loud to yourself. What would that perfect scenario look like for you? Because, like I was saying, very often we want people to come on board with our vision. We want people to be invested in us. We want people to support us on the weight loss journey. Be more present in a romantic relationship. We want our children to listen to us. You have to be clear about what you want. And that starts with you. It starts internally, right? And life has taught us that we have no control. especially in these last few years, the things that have happened. We watch so much happening around the world and we are in shock. And so many lives have been touched by this, and so much has fallen apart because of it. And we feel like we don't have control, and that is not true. That is so far from the truth. When you sit with yourself and you take stock, when you look at these 12 categories and you take stock of who you are, you take stock of where you are, and you take stock of what you want, because that's what the documentation now is. You're writing down, okay, I'm an 8 out of 10 in this area. I could work a little harder, right? Or I'm a 6 out of 10 in fitness. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with walking for a week. And then after a week, I'll see how I feel. And then if I feel strong enough, I'll start running. And then I'll run to the end of the month. I think I'll feel a lot stronger. And then in February, I'll join the gym. And when I join the gym, if it's going pretty well and I'm getting stronger, then maybe I'll get a personal trainer. And you see, now you start to develop a plan, but it all starts with a dream, and it starts with giving yourself the time and the space and the permission to dream in the first place, and not just taking life as it comes and saying, well, this is the best there is, this is the best I can do. But that's not it. That's not it. And I think a lot of us are in a place where we're like, I don't know exactly what I want, but I know it's not this. And what I really want to do through this series, and I'm going to make it a series, a flourishing series, I'm going to be talking about this all year, because I don't think that God gave me this word just for me. I think that there are many women who are waiting to flourish, and it shouldn't be something that you have to wait on. It shouldn't be something that you feel that is being held from you, right? You have everything you need to start right where you are. But it starts with giving yourself permission to dream. And your dream is divine, it is relevant, it is empowering, it is accessible, and it is meaningful. It absolutely is meaningful. So, whether or not your dream is in those 12 categories, whether it's something completely different, I encourage you to write those dreams down. And it doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to be my system. It can be, I have this journal. So, but I paid like $3 for this in Target. And I carry this all over the place, and I write my thoughts down. I write my dreams down, I write questions down, whatever comes to my mind. This is a judgment-free zone, right? It is a judgment-free zone. And if you don't have a journal, I encourage you to get a journal and start writing your thoughts. Start writing your thoughts, start writing your desires, start writing your feelings, start processing those emotions, start processing those plans, things that maybe you started 3 years ago and then you stopped because you got discouraged. Pick it back up again. Because if it's still gnawing at you, if it's still nudging at you, that means that it's important to you. And it's probably something you should pursue, and pray about it. And pray about it and ask God and ask yourself, is this coming from a place of desire, or is it coming from a place of desperation? Because very often what we can do is we can set goals that are actually speaking to what we think that we lack. So we feel like, if I achieve this goal, then I would be successful. If I achieve this goal, then I would be accepted. If I achieve this goal, then I would be X or Y, right? And I want you to understand that you are complete as you are. You are complete as you are for where you are. Anything that you achieve from this point, anything that you become from this point should be an enhancement of what you already are. And if there are aspects to your character that you realize are not beneficial, right? If there are aspects to your character that you realize are not taking you in the direction that you need to go, then you're going to need to put those things down. And that's a hard thing to do because it means letting go of who you think you're supposed to be and also who others expect you to be. And I very often say that the hardest woman to walk away from is the version of you who does not serve your future. But that doesn't mean that you can't do it, right? So I know that for some of you, this was not the type of video that you were looking for, but I have a very different take on vision. I have a very different take on creating vision boards. I have a very different take on goal setting than many other people. And I do not believe that you start the year and you set your goals in stone and you just stick your head down and you just plug it through until it's done. I believe that as women, we need to pay attention to what we're feeling. We need to pay attention to our own evolution. We need to nurture ourselves along the process. So it's not just about follow these 10 steps to financial freedom, follow these 5 steps, do these 3 exercises and you'll have a small waist. It's not just about that. How many of us can admit that our financial situation, our relationship situation, our health situation has a lot to do with our emotions, has a lot to do with our spiritual state, has a lot to do with our self-worth and how we view ourselves, has a lot to do with comparing ourselves to other women. These are the things that we don't talk about. So if you don't deal with that aspect of it, your vision board now becomes wall art, right? And this is a journey. And I really encourage people to give it a year. When I work one-on-one for 90 minutes. There's an initial session for 90 minutes, but if you're going long term, it's going to be at least 3 months. At least 3 months. Because change does not happen overnight. It absolutely does not happen overnight. And I think that many of us reach a point of frustration where we just want it to be done. We just want it to be changed now. But the truth is that you have to become a different person in order to sustain the change. And sometimes I don't like to use the term have to, but you have to. Because if you remain as you are, you can't handle the new version of your life. So all that beautiful stuff that you described and how it's going to look and how it's going to feel, all that beautiful stuff you described, will you be able to sustain that? Will you be able to hold that in your hand securely, knowing this life is mine? This financial status is mine. This work status is mine. This relationship status is mine. This my goal weight is mine. Because simple thing like losing weight, you lose 10 pounds, you lose the 10 pounds, but then after you lose the 10 pounds, are you going to gain it back? Right? What's your plan for keeping the weight off? What's your plan for keeping the money in your account once you've saved it up and you've gotten to a certain place? What's your point? What's your plan for maintaining your relationship once you've reached a certain place? All of that has to do with the woman you become, right? So it's not just about check, okay, did that, check, okay, did that. check. Okay, did that. And it feels good. It feels good to check stuff off. But we have to check ourselves in the process. Yeah. So I'm going to break here. I thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that this helped. I really hope that this sparked something new in you. And I will be back. This will be the first of many videos about flourishing for 2024. I am going to share my journey. Continue to follow the vision blogs. If you are not yet subscribed, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. And I want to thank you for spending this time with me. Blessings on your journey, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye bye.